Hello, everybody. It's me. It's the Nutty Professor. I'm back. Now, I'm doing another car podcast. So far, we've got three in the Nutty Professor Car Collection series, all taped by my former student, podcast producer, editor, and they're all properly taped with the right lighting and everything. We were going to do a proper taping of a podcast on this car, possibly comparing it to a friend's new Audi. The other podcast, one is on the old Porsche, one is on the old Corvette, one is on the old Mercedes, comparing it to a friend's new Mercedes, So we were going to do another comparison podcast, but then COVID happened, and, my student had other commitments, and we never get around to it, And now I am doing this podcast myself. He tried to instruct me on how to do it on my phone, but remember, I'm a self-proclaimed Luddite, and I couldn't. So I'm back to doing it on my laptop because I know how to. It's not going to be the best taping, but I'm still doing it because I am trading this car tomorrow. Now, that's sort of unusual. My father is a typical car collector in that he will not ever trade or sell a car. He will give it away if he has to. He will wreck it if it needs too much work and it can't be fixed. But he will not sell or trade. I used to years ago trade. I traded a C class, SLK. I traded on a C class. C class. I traded on this. But that was 13 years ago. And I was teaching back then. This is a 2004 Jaguar X Type. It's from when Jaguar was owned by Ford. Before that, I did want one of the older Jaguars, but they had poor reputations for reliability. This one, when it was owned by Ford, it had a much better reputation, and I personally have been very happy with this car. It's been very reliable. The only things I have had to do are regular maintenance items like brakes, tires, battery. I don't think I've even changed the mufflers. So I had 30,000 kilometers when I got it, 85,000 kilometers now, but it's been sitting for a while. Out in the country, I have an SUV with very low kilometers that my father gave me when they were leaving the country, and he turned over the rest of his cars, his collection, to me. Again, he gives them away. He won't sell or trade. So he's I have other cars. This car has been sitting there, and I decided I wanted something new and fun. Newer. It's not a new car, and I won't tell you what it is. I'll do hopefully a podcast on the car that's coming tomorrow. So and I hopefully a professionally taped podcast. So I'm doing this as a goodbye to this car. Now, I try not to be anthropomorphic. I don't name my cars, My father doesn't name his cars either. But the relatives that we gave a couple of cars to when we didn't need them, the first thing they did was they named them, I don't name, but I find myself lapsing sometimes into anthropomorphism. And I'm kind of hoping that whoever gets this car, whoever buys it will treat it well. It goes to a good home. But it's not a cat. It's just a car, It's so hopefully somebody will appreciate it the way I have. When I was trading it, and a little word here about dealers. I've come across all kinds of dealers over the years of buying cars, and most have been average. Most have been in between. Occasionally, you get typical, stereotypical shady dealers, and they withhold information, and they're shady and they're crooked. And you sometimes get exceptionally good dealers. Now, the one that I'm trading this car into, and I'm getting the other car from, as far as I can tell, so far they have been exceptional. They are very ethical. They revealed all the information that needed to be about the new car. They gave me a fair trade on this, for an old car. They made a verbal agreement, which they stuck to. Now, not all dealers are like that. As I said, the people that I bought this car from 13 years ago, I discovered yesterday they withheld some information about the car. I'm not going to go into it here, but they withheld some information that I think should have been disclosed. I mean, it was issues that had been resolved, but if they had told me, I may not have bought it. Now, the thing here is, if I had not bought it, I would have lost out on a wonderful, wonderful car. So, but I still think that information should have been disclosed. Now, I am trading it tomorrow. I'm still a little bit is going. I could always call them and say, I'll pay the difference, I'll keep it, I'll take it out to the country and I'll park it, but it'll just sit there and rot, and then I will have to wreck it, eventually, like my father, I will. So if somebody can make use of it and appreciate it and enjoy it, it's time to let it go. There's another car podcaster, a famous car podcaster in the States. His name is Tyler Hoover. And at one time, I think he had been a dealer, but then he just became a collector. One time he had 40 or 50 cars, and he even had a TV show where the premise was that he could only buy another car if he sold one of his existing collection. And he used to agonize over it, but, I'm going to miss it. I've been through a lot with this car, but it's time for it to go fresh beginning, So basically, this is a goodbye to this car when I get the new one, hopefully tomorrow. And I've offered the dealers, I'm not giving their name, the good dealers, I'm not providing their name because I haven't got permission from them yet. And, so I'm just mentioning them anonymously. But I have asked them that if they want me to do promotional videos with their cars, I'm willing to without charging because, they've been really good to me and I don't mind publicly endorsing them. Now, they may not want to be associated with a nutty, crazy professor. They're like, oh, no, I don't think we want your endorsements. but it might actually hurt business rather than help it. But they have been very good, and I am really looking forward to the new car tomorrow. A big, cat tip toy reinforcer for me, having been clear so long. So, basically, I just want to say to this, even though I'm trying not to be anthropomorphic, I'll show you very quickly the outside. Let's do that very quickly. I'm going to have to go underground now because it's got dark. This is the front of it, and there had been a Jaguar hood ornament. It's a leaping cat. They call it the leaper. Somebody stole it a few years back, So that's the front. I'm just going to pause it and show you the. That's the side of the car. In excellent shape, it's the typical kind of rounded back window of the older Jags, I'm going to go back in the car. As I was saying, I still kind of have mixed feelings, but I think it's time to let it go, And I keep telling myself it's just a car. It's not a cat. It's not a pet, So tomorrow, now I've got to clean out the car, the trunk and the back, and there's Coke bottles, empty Coke bottles, and Tim Hortons stuff. I got to clean it out. So I'm going to clean it out, and tomorrow, hopefully, get the new car. This one, again, hopefully somebody will appreciate it the way I have. And it's been a great car. Even though information was withheld at the beginning, it turned out to be a wonderful car, extremely reliable, and very stylish. And the best thing about it, it's a cat. It's a Jaguar, Anyway, goodbye, Jaguar, and I'll see you guys next indoor podcast. And once the quote new car unquote arrives, hopefully we can do a properly taped podcast on it, and I'll introduce you to it. Okay, so this is the Nutty Professor in the 2004 Jaguar number 4 from the car collection, but it's soon going to go and be replaced by another number 4. So bye for now.